can be slated as 1 alpha, take 1. Can you clap? Alright. Set. Wait for game set. 1 more set. And action.
Sequential Prophet VS. Boasting one of the most intuitive methods of sound creation ever devised, 1986's Prophet VS was meant to be US synth giant Sequential's commercial savior. Sadly, it didn't succeed, but it did earn itself the status of American classic. The 1980s were a productive time for synthesis, with ever more complex methods of sound creation, using various combinations of analog and digital technology being developed. Yamaha had started the ball rolling in 1983 with digital FM frequency modulation synthesis, which came to prominence in the DX7. Frequency modulation was followed in 1985 by Casio's PD, phase distortion synthesis, as used by the CZ101 and CZ1000. In the same year, Korg decided to get in on the act with DWGS, Digital Waveform Generator System, found on their DW6000 and DW8000 synthesizers. Then Roland came to the digital party in 1986 with SAS, Structured Adaptive Synthesis, a method originally intended to produce the perfect piano sound in the infancy of sampling, still something that was keenly sought after. A year later, Roland followed up with their LA, Linear Arithmetic Synthesis, which first appeared on the famous D50. If you're confused, don't worry, you're not alone. Most of these different synthesis methods ended up baffling musicians, programmers, and high-tech salespeople alike. It's no coincidence that an entire industry based around software editors for these synthesizers, mostly on the Atari and Amiga computers, grew up between 85 and 87. It wasn't that musicians didn't want to create sounds from scratch anymore, though admittedly factory presets had improved enormously during this time. It was simply that, in most cases, the synthesis structure within their instrument was so complex that they simply couldn't work out how to or didn't have the necessary time to devote to learning. The new synthesis combinations seemed endless, but what did they all mean? And more important, what did these scientific-sounding methods actually do to the sounds that they generated? In fact, instead of making life easier, the new complex synthesis methods ended up mystifying and irritating many players who simply resorted to using factory presets. Such was the rather muddled state of the synth market in the summer of 1986. But at the same time that Yamaha, Roland, and Korg were producing ever-increasing numbers of the new synthesizers at reasonable prices, the American-manufactured synth was becoming an endangered species. Products from giants such as Moog, ARP, and Oberheim that had once dominated the market were now vanishing as company after company went out of business.
And cut.